My dear brothers and sisters, respected elders, viewers, my humble Sitaram to each one of you. And I take great pleasure again in welcoming all of you to yet another program of Dharma ki Awaaz, the voice of Dharma. Tonight's program comes to you with the kind compliments of Bahan Sumati of Wim Village. I would like to thank her and her family very much, and we pray that Bhagwan would continue to bless her and her family. My friends, viewers, I ask of you to join me in moments of prayers as we again prostrate ourselves onto the lotus-like feet of God. We seek His blessings, His guidance, His inspiration. Wherever you may be, looking at this telecast, I ask you to bow your heads in prayers as we turn our attention to Bhagwan. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Guru Charana Kamalebhyo Namaha. Om Shri Narayana Namaha. Om Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Saka Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashantu Ma Kaschit Gaba Bhavet. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Viewers, today is indeed a special day for all the fathers, for today is Father's Day, and I seize the opportunity in wishing all the fathers happy Father's Day, and may they have an enjoyable day, and may they not forget the responsibilities as a father to nurture, to care, and to ensure that the children receive the best of health and the best of education. My friends, we have looked at bhakti, devotion, and for the last two programs I have dealt with two kinds of bhakti devotion. Sravana Bhakti, listening to God's glories. Kirtana Bhakti, singing of the Lord's praises. Today, however, we look at the third type of bhakti, the third type of devotion, that is called Smarana Bhakti. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, we are told, Shravana Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandana Dasyam Sakyam Atmani Vedanam. These are the 9 types of devotion to the lotus-like feet of the Lord, that is, to Bhagwan. And in Ramcharitramanasa, Bhagwan Shri Ram, in the Aryana Khan of the Ramcharitramanasa, he spoke to Mata Shavari, and he said to her, Kaha Raghupati Sunubhamani Bata. Bhagwan Shri Ram says, listen, O fair lady, O wonderful lady, Manava Eka Bhagati Karanata, that I recognize no relationship except that of bhakti, devotion. And he further states, Jati pati kul dharma barai, dana bala parijana guna chaturai, bhagati hina nara soh kaise, binu jala barid dekhiya jaise. The Lord says, despite your caste, despite your kinship, despite your lineage, your family, despite your piety, your religiousness, despite your reputation, whatever reputation you hold, whatever status you hold in society, in life, despite your wealth, despite your power, your strength, despite your connections, whatever connection you have with the world, despite your accomplishments, whatever you accomplish in life, and your ability, whatever you're able to do, despite of all of that, the Lord says, Binu jala barid dekhiya jaise. Without devotion, a person is like a cloud without water. Without devotion, regardless who you are or what you are, if you have no devotion for the Lord, then you are just like a cloud without water. What is a cloud without water? Useless. Friends, we must develop bhakti. We must develop devotion to the lotus-like feet of God. We must have some love for Him. So, bhakti in the whole is very, very important to all of us. Regardless of who we are, it is very, very important. So today, however, we look at Smarana Bhakti. What is Smarana Bhakti? Smarana Bhakti is remembrance of the Lord at all times. This is an unbroken memory of the name and form and the greatness of God. Remembering God most of the time, if not all the time. The mind does not think of any object of the world, but is ever engrossed in thinking about the Supreme Lord alone. That is what we call Smarana Bhakti. A person who develops Smarana Bhakti, he remembers the Lord all the time. So, Smarana Bhakti, we are told, means the constant remembrance of God. Constant remembrance of God. You don't remember God only when you're in trouble. You don't remember God only when you're in pain. You don't remember God only when you are suffering, but remembering God all the time. That is Smarana Bhakti. In happiness, in sadness, in pain, in pleasure, we must remember Bhagwan. We must remember God. That is Smarana Bhakti. Bhagwan Shri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he says in the 8th chapter, verse 5, he says, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samad bhavam yati nas traya sanshaya. The Lord says that whosoever at the time of death remember me, attains my state. Smarana muktva kalevaram. Kalevaram means at the time of giving up this body. Smaran muktva, remembering the Lord. Even at that time, Bhagavan says, that person comes to me. There's no doubt about that. Even if you don't remember God your whole life, but at the time of death you remember Bhagavan. Smarana muktva. You remember Him. At that time you enjoy emancipation. At that time you become liberated. But how would we remember God at the time of death? We would never remember God in our life. That is a question we must ask ourselves. Again in the very same 8th chapter, verse 7, Bhagavan says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yutyascha maya arpita manobuddhi Mameva Ashyasi Ansashayam. The Lord says that, O Arjuna, therefore, always keep me in mind. Always remember me, and then enter the battle of life. Undoubtedly, you will attain to me. Whatever you do, remember Bhagavan. Whatever your duties are, when you are performing your duties, remember Bhagavan, remember God. In everything, in every aspect of life, remember God. You perform an action, you do so, remembering God. Like Hanumanji. Hanumanji remembers God all the time. In whatever activity he gets involved into, Hanumanji would always remember his Sri Rama. Therefore, Bhagavan is telling us, whatever we do in life, we must remember him. That is Smarana Bhakti, remembering the Lord. The following shloka number 8, same 8th chapter, Bhagavan says, Abhyasaya yoga yuktena chetasa na anyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati partha anuchitayam. Chintayam. The Lord says that the one who does not reflect on anything else but constantly remembers me only, he finds it easy to reach me. How can we reach God very easily? By remembering him. Get involved in Smarana Bhakti, remembering of the Lord. Remember his name, we can remember his name, we can remember his form, we can remember his glories, we can remember his pastimes, we can remember everything about God that our Shastras talk about. So it is not very hard to remember Bhagavan. Just remember the Lord. In whatever you do, remember him. Again, in the 14th shloka of the 8th chapter, he says, Ananya chetaha satatam yomam smarati dityasha tasya aham sulabha partha nitya yukta yoginaha. The Lord says, O Arjuna, I am easily attainable by the ever steadfast devotee who, thinking of no one else, remembers me constantly. Satatam, satatam, remembering the Lord constantly, always. Not once a year you remember God, not once a week or once a month, but constantly we must remember Bhagavan. We must remember Bhagavan. My friends, Smarana Bhakti is the most easiest form of devotion. All you have to do, remember God, nothing else. You don't have to do anything else at all. And you can remember God anywhere, under any circumstances. Anytime. There is no specific time for remember God. There is no specific time to think about the Lord, to think about Bhagavan. We can remember him all the time. Srimad Bhagavatam tells us. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Vishayan dhyayatas chitam vishatjate mam anusmaratas chitam mayena praviliyate. In Srimad Bhagavatam we are told that the mind, Bhagavan Krishna was telling Uddhava, that the mind which thinks of material objects becomes attached to those very objects. However, the mind which constantly remembers me merges in me. So, whatever we think about, that is what we remember all the time. We think about our family, we remember our family all the time. We think about our property, we remember our property all the time. We think about our connection, we remember about that all the time. But Bhagavan says that the mind which constantly remembers me, which constantly always remembers me, merges in me. Because at the time of death, Smaran Muktva Kalevaram. At the time of giving up this body, you're able to remember the Lord. Very easy, you attain the Lord. Simple as that, my friends. Because what? The mind meditates on what is heard. Whatever the mind hears, that is what we remember. When we hear something, that is what we remember. We hear something at the market, we remember it. But when you hear about God, rather, you'll always remember God. So, Smarana Bhakti is all about remembering Bhagavan, God, His names, His forms, His glories, His pastimes, and so on. Even in japa, in chanting, remembrance of God is a form of bhakti. Dhruva, Prahalad, Bharata, Shavari, these are all devotees who remember God constantly. So remembrance also includes hearing the pastimes of God pertaining to His activities. So friends, remembrance of God's name, Smarana Bhakti, as I said earlier, has no particular time, can be remembered all the time without any break. You can remember God all the time. The more you hear about God's greatness and mix with His bhaktas, His devotees who have devotion, the more devotion you will develop. Simple. The more you hear about the greatness of God, the more you listen to His glories, the more you attend satsangs, the more you get involved in devotees of God, you sit in the company of devotees of God, then the more your devotion will develop for the Lord. And that is Smarana Bhakti. You're able to remember Him, you're able to retain the Lord in your heart. And retaining the Lord in your heart, you're able to remember Him more. So keep in the company of the devotees of God. The moment you keep the company of non-devotees, then you only remember about the world and remember other things. Friends, brothers and sisters, the greatness of remembering Bhagavan and thinking about Him is very amazing. It brings so much joy and comfort, happiness, peace into one's life. And friends, very quickly, I'll tell you of a story from the Srimad Bhagavatam. A gopi went to fetch water from the Yamuna river. And when she dipped her pot into the river to get some water, she feels as if Bhagavan Krishna has caught her hand, and out of fright, she dropped the pot in the river and ran away. She went onto the bank of the river and she sat in posture and she began to meditate. At that moment, Narad Muni came. And Narad Muni said to her, "Are you meditating on Sri Krishna Bhagavan?" And the girl said, No, Baba, no. I'm not meditating on Krishna Bhagavan. Please don't take his name. Please don't take his name. Narad Muni said, "Why are you so agitated? Hearing the name of Sri Krishna." And the girl said, "What am I to do, Baba? What am I to do, Baba? That everything I do, Lord Krishna will interfere with that. When I dug the ground, Sri Krishna would dig it. When I went to grind grains, Lord Krishna would hold the pestle and he would ruin my work. So I leave all the work and I'm now meditating. I'm now meditating." So Narad Muni says that, "What's the fault? You are very fortunate to have Sri Krishna with you, doing everything, or with you all the time." And the poor little girl was saying that he is ruining my work all the time. I can't do any work. So I'm meditating to control my mind, not to think of Bhagavan Krishna. I am meditating to control my mind, not to think of Bhagavan Krishna, not to think of Krishna. And brothers and sisters, the devotees and viewers, the poor little girl, she wants the Lord out of her thoughts, because Bhagavan is ruining her work. And so friends, she says that I want to get some work done. That is why I'm trying to put Krishna out of my mind. But Sri Krishna comes into my mind all the time. That is Smarana Bhakti. Remembering the Lord all times. Friends, viewers, therefore, we must all perform Smarana Bhakti or get involved in Smarana Bhakti, remembering of the Lord's names, forms, glories, pastimes, greatness, mahima, whatever it is, we must remember Bhagavan all the time. So do not remember God only when you are in sickness, or when you are in trouble, or you are in problem. Remember Bhagavan all the time. That is Smarana Bhakti. I would like to thank all of you very much for listening, and I do hope that you have learned that Bhakti is very, very important, whether you get involved in Shravana Bhakti, listening of the Lord's names, Kirtana Bhakti, singing the Lord's name, or Smarana Bhakti, remembering the Lord's name, or whatever the case it may be involved or get yourself in Bhakti. Devotion melts the heart of God, and He blesses that person who develops that Bhakti within himself or herself. So may Bhagavan bless all of us. Thank you for listening, and I hope that this program would certainly bring some relief to you and try to help you in remembering the Lord. I would like to again thank my sponsors, Bhajan Sumati and family, and thank all of you for viewing. May Bhagavan bless all of you, and to all the fathers out there, I again wish you a happy Father's Day and God's blessings. May Bhagavan keep all the fathers strong and healthy, that they can provide for the children, for the wife, and for the family circle. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers, and may God bless all of us. Thank you so much. May God continue to bless all of us. Until next week again for yet another program of Dharma Ki Awaaz, I leave you with Jai Shri Ram.